Lead clock here. Kamara drives. Kamara elevates and hammers it down.
That was a call on TNT last night. Wish we would have had Calabro on that call. As Toumani Kamara absolutely slam ball through basket. That was fun to see last night. 1, 2 get up, throw ball through hoop. And just a complete game by the Portland Trailblazers.
Great job by DeAndre Ayton also to grab the living bejesus out of Giannis on that play and kind of shuffle him out of directly under Toumani Kamara so he could absolutely bang on him. So just all around great stuff. But yeah, no, the last night was great basketball. And it's been so long. It's been 84 years to actually have the juice in the crowd, the national TV game, the players getting up for it, the execution. It
felt like a perfect storm because like everybody in that building came to see Dame in his return, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's why there was a little bit of buzz. That's why there was some excitement in the crowd. And when the hometown team is like, hey, we want to watch something nice, and hey, Dame's coming back. I think it was like that surprise that, oh my gosh. No, actually, the Blazers are the ones that are playing well. Right? Like the Blazers, hey, all right, look at this, something to cheer for. It was a fun game because it was a complete game where the part that I liked the most about it is you saw, and Chauncey Billups had a great comment to you, I believe it was, right? Where he said, it's amazing what can happen when everybody's pulling together.
Yeah.
And everybody's playing together. That was the first time in quite some time, like you really saw it come together for Portland. They've had games and like they've been playing better lately. Mm-hmm. Young pieces and development is actually working for this team. And they're playing a good brand of basketball.
Things are feeding each other in the sense of, Ant has figured some stuff out and guys are able to play off that. Tu and Deni are really sliding into their roles, and whether it's Scoot, Shea, Donovan, any of the other guys, no matter what happens with this team going forward, I am certain Tu and Deni are going to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like those two guys, and you saw that last night, and they both did very different things last night. In that, yeah, Deni goes for 30, but
that was a hell of a game.
I mean, he was balling out of his mind. 30 points, 9 boards, 2 assists, 2 steals, 5 turnovers, just a little loose, but you do deal with that. Tu, on the other hand, 8 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists. And it's very different. It's like, oh, it looks like a nice little game. It's like he was an absolute demon.
He was all over the floor. All over.
How
Both ends.
How many guys in the NBA can effectively guard Giannis and Dame in the same game?
I
5?
don't. Maybe
5.
Yeah, sounds about right. And he has that skill set to do. Not in like he's not going to take Giannis for 48 minutes.
Giannis only had a 40-piece. Like nobody stops him, but you make him work.
Yeah, he's not gonna lock up Dame for 48 minutes.
No,
but he was that guy that the Blazers had been missing really since Wesley Matthews ruptured his Achilles. Which is a guy that can defend every level of the floor, and it's like a stopgap in just the guy who just stops bleeding from happening.
Mm-hmm. And the thing about it, it's actually perfect you brought up Wes, because I mentioned it last night. Tu is starting to show these little things where I don't think he's going to ever be this all-star caliber player, but I think he can be a very high-end role player in the same way that Wes was. And Wes was very unique. This isn't like looking at it back at hindsight. Wes was very unique before his Achilles went. Mm-hmm. Guys come in the league, they are kind of who they are, and you can maybe add a little bit. You don't get to the point of like, oh, he's a three-point shooter. Oh, he can attack off the dribble. Oh, he's got a post-up game. Oh, he can attack closeouts. Like, oh, he developed a handle. Like, he kept every year was adding something new. I've been pushing Chauncey a little bit in post games the last couple of weeks of like, what are you trying to get out of Tu? And you're seeing it where he's working more as a screener in pick and rolls. He got a post up on Dame. He was like, "Come here, little guy," and goes up and scores. And he's like, just finding these little ways to add additional value to what he's doing. And it's just, you're seeing how valuable he can be beyond being a premier defender, his offensive value is growing other than, hey, stand in corner and shoot threes.
Whether people want to admit it or not, we have seen Chauncey Billups has been doing his job.
Yeah.
And that is to grow and develop young players. We've seen Scoot has started to come around, and last night was not necessarily the glowing picture of Scoot's development, but you know what?
Competent.
He was. And he's growing and getting better. Tumani Kamara, you can't ignore that he has gotten exponentially better. Donovan Clingan is playing and putting up numbers.
What an insane block on Brook Lopez last night.
It was an incredible block.
He ran from the top of the three-point line as Dame fired a pass down to him and just pinned him. The look on Brook's face was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, it was like, really?
We're going to do this?
Really?
Wait, this is happening to
But,
us
I mean,
right meow?
That's the most ground I've seen him cover and make a play.
But somebody what was the thing? Somebody floated this out about his rebound rate is like at an incredible, like, all-time clip. Like, Donovan Clingan in limited plays, limited minutes. I think that was his 34th game of the season last night. But he's got like a rebound rate of 18% or something that, which puts him at one of the highest like performers in, albeit very small sample size. Yeah. But you're seeing that Chauncey is getting guys to grow and develop. And look, the hard part is, though, it puts the Blazers in a position where this isn't the year where you want to start racking up wins, but growth, development. We wanted to see them lose close games. They're kind of playing better than that right now. And that's tough because as it stands right now, the Blazers are 6.5 games away from the 10 seed in the West. They're 7 games away from the worst record in the Western Conference.
Which you're not catching those guys.
You're not catching either one of them.
No.
And that's the worst spot to be in because you're in no man's land. Either make the playoffs or crater this thing out, because what this team has is you're seeing growth, you're seeing a little bit of development. You're not going to get a star the way it's constructed right now. And I know that is frustrating for fans, but it's also like, it's such a tough conundrum to be in, where what you wanted to see is actually happening in development and guys still playing really hard and putting a good product on the floor, but you're in no man's land.
I don't think they're in no man's land yet. I think you have to wait until the end of the season to know where they're at in no man's land, because in the middle of the season, the Chicago Bulls are in no man's land. They have nothing. They have nothing going forward. They're in legitimate no man's land. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else really in no man's land right now. Well, Sacramento could end up there if the Fox trade goes sideways for them.
Well, okay, are you saying, like, what are you saying as far as the big difference between Portland and Chicago right now?
What does Chicago have going forward?
Yeah, but I mean, what does Portland have going forward? Which is
Denny.
2 and Denny,
at least.
But that's not going to get you.
No.
That's not going to get you to.
No.
And that's the thing.
No. Just stop. The difference is Chicago has nothing. No draft assets, no picks, no player. There's nothing on that team. Nothing. Modest Buzelis is not something to go forward with. They are bereft of everything, and yet they've been stuck in this muck for 5-6 years, and they haven't gotten a top 3 pick or gotten a top 7 pick or anything along those lines. Whereas the Blazers have. Now, did they get the best players out of it? Probably not. Sucks.
And that's where I'm at with, like, I don't see that big of a difference there.
I see a staggering difference between those two franchises right now.
Yeah.
Staggering difference between those two franchises.
Because
not
there's
even close.
But and if you don't get a star, though.
But this is the whole point of the tank. It doesn't guarantee anything.
Yeah.
But
right
now
that
Washington team,
yeah.
that Washington team can sit here and they can end up winning 11 games this season, and they can still finish 5th in the lottery.
Sure, absolutely.
And
that's the thing. There's nothing guaranteed.
That's my point. It's like you've got it. Like, you do what you can, you control what you can control, and you as much as everybody says they want to lose every game, no, you freaking don't. No, you don't. I was in a building with 20,000 people last night that had the time of their lives.
Yeah.
And they're going to remember it, and the kids are going to remember it, and all that stuff's it does matter. The functionality has to be there in some capacity.
That's right.
But are they winning too many games? Yes. Can they turn the water off and still only win 22 games this season? Yes.
Yeah.
They can.
That's going to be a really tough task, though.
It's not, though.
But
you say that, but Dusty, they've done it the last 3 years.
I know, but this year is also different in that there's going to be everybody turning those faucets off.
There's only two teams that have absolutely turned the water off.
Okay, now here's where the no man's land really kind of gets you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the Blazers also they've got to make up 4 games to get to Brooklyn or Charlotte for the 4th and 5th worst records.
Mm-hmm.
Those are 2 teams that are going to turn the faucet off.
And do you want me to?
New Orleans appears to, after winning 4 in a row, be like, "Nah, we're good. No, we're not going to do this."
They can't, though. They have too many guys.
But that's also the thing is that, like, are they? Because if they turn the faucet off, Brandon Ingram's not going to play the rest of the year, right? That's what I'm saying is that the Blazers are going to turn guys off and say no more. You guys aren't going to play, but the other teams that they're trying to catch aren't going to do that.
No, because they have too many guys. New Orleans has too many guys. They can't. They can't shut down CJ, Brandon, Zion, DeJounte, Trey. They can't shut down 5 starters. They can't.
I hope they can.
They can't.
I hope they can't. So there's one team that they can catch. Who else are they catching then? Between Toronto, Brooklyn, Charlotte, because where they're at right now is the tough spot, right? In that you don't want to be 7th. And they have the 7th worst record right now.
No, where you want to get to is 5th. That's
where it was. You got to make up 4 games on Brooklyn and Charlotte.
Mm-hmm. Toronto's a team that, for whatever reason, is signaling that they're trying to add players at the deadline.
Mm-hmm.
Weirdly enough, I don't know why, but that's a spot they're going to be. The Nets are still going to find a way to win games because they play in the East. It's just that simple. And the Blazers, you know who they play down the stretch? Toronto, Brooklyn, Charlotte, Utah. They're going to have a chance to, like, remember when John Butler played point guard against the Spurs?
Yeah. But they're not, the other teams aren't going to do the same thing. Like, you want to talk about your infamous drop of the great suck-off?
Mm-hmm.
Buddy. Because New Orleans...
No one has matched the Blazers at this. Look, you can get all mad at me and whatever. No one has matched the level the Blazers are willing to go to when push comes to shove. If you guys are going to suck hard.
There you go.
They have. Again, they have been dead last, second to last, and dead last post All-Star break the last 3 years. They've won 13 games over the last 3 years post All-Star game.
Yikes. New Orleans, by the way, has the second toughest schedule remaining in the NBA, with their 4 of their easiest games remaining on their schedule are 3 against the Spurs and 1 against the 76ers. Those are the easiest games on their schedule. They have 1 against Utah, 1 against Charlotte, 1 against Brooklyn. They've got a layup line. Utah has the 4th toughest schedule remaining. Blazers aren't catching them anyways. Blazers have the 12th toughest schedule. Meanwhile, Toronto and Washington have the 2 easiest schedules in the NBA remaining.
Toronto's going to win games. Washington's not. Toronto's going to win games. Brooklyn's going to win games.
Brooklyn and Charlotte have the 23rd and 24th toughest schedules remaining. Yeah. I hope you're right.
Again, the goal is to hope to end up 5th in lottery odds and then pray.
Yeah.
Pray.
All right.
Because we said coming into the season, I said they're going to probably finish somewhere between 4 and 5 or 3 through 5.
Yeah. I mean,
picking up those 5 wins, early in the season, the New Orleans, San Antonio, or the New Orleans Pelicans ones, like it sucks because you're at worst you're thinking 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Like as far as good for the tank.
Yeah.
And if they're 3 back, they're literally in.
Yeah. I hope you're right. I hope they can suck as much as they have the last couple of years. But there's going to be stiff competition because how good the draft is.
Yeah. We heard this with Wemby. Yeah. And they got down there.
Yeah. You know what? It's also going to be, and this is Portland. This is not just unique to Portland, but I know this is how our fan base will operate, is that say the Blazers finish one game back of Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
And the Blazers have the 6th worst record. Brooklyn has 5th worst record, and Brooklyn wins the lottery.
Yeah, they say that one game, and yeah.
That,
Guess what?
That's the way it goes.
Guess what?
It's the lottery.
The Blazers lost to the Spurs in that game, and guess who won the lottery? That
Yeah.
John Butler game? Spurs won the lottery.
Yeah.
So you can say the Blazers, sucking on purpose, gave the Spurs Wemby. There you go. You have another reason to hate the Blazers and their management. Because they didn't get it right there either. Because they lost when they should have won.
I thought last night,
doing
though,
it in hindsight is dumb.
It really is. Last night was good. It was good basketball to watch. We got to watch the Portland Trail Blazers and everybody. And it just, what bothers me so much is the same people that criticize Chauncey Billups for not being a good coach, then criticize him because he was too good of a coach and they beat the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yes.
You know, right?
Yes.
Like,
He's one of those people.
I don't
Owning it.
I don't get it. Why?
Look, and I know Danny has said this lots of times on this show, coaches and players don't tank,
Mhm.
organizations do.
Yeah.
And at some point, the organization needs to send down the edict. Look, we know you understand the assignment here, okay? So it's time to sit some dudes down. And I don't understand why we have to wait until the magical trade deadline to see what happens first before that happens and how many more games we have to win against, good to mediocre teams.
Well,
But like I said, last segment, it's we're not even at the All-Star break and they're already almost at their season over under.
yeah. Well, I will also throw at you though, DeAndre Ayton has only played in 33 games. Jeremy Grant came and left that game last night. It's like sometimes they're doing this and they're still finding ways to win the games too, right? I mean, if we had seen
Maybe Chauncey needs to come up with some back spasms.
if we had seen this team come out and, if at this point in the year, Ant, DeAndre, JG were all playing 45 of their 47 games they played so far.
Mhm.
If they've all played 45 of those 47, to be like, well, yeah, start shutting guys down. Dude, it's happened. They've been winning games when you're like, how are they doing this? What are you doing?
I mean, they just won games on a road trip with DeAndre Ayton on the bench.
And I'm never
Raul
going
on
to
the bench, then Donovan playing minutes.
Yeah. It's just really, it's a really tough spot to be in.
I will agree, though. They do need to deal somebody at the deadline. And if they get out of the deadline without dealing somebody, it is an issue.
There we go. And
yeah.
we're less than a week away. Or
Yeah.
week away today?
Tomorrow. Yeah, Thursday.
God, it's Wednesday.
Thursday deadline, yeah.
All right, we're not doing a very good job of doing what we said we were going to do.
Stay on time? Yeah.
My gosh.
Yeah,
It
we'll
happens.
quit next.
It happens.